Hi everyone, I hope you're okay, and I hope that the videos we keep uploading are helping you out. On this video, guys, I'll be tackling the fifth question from the mid-year examination, which was written in the province of KwaZulu-Natal in the year of 2024. Please do expect a total number of 10 videos, since the question paper had 10 questions in total. Okay, we are given the graphs of F and the graph of G. They are just drawn below. The graph of G cuts the graph of F at points A and B. B is the turning point of F. Okay, let's analyze this thing. Whenever, guys, the examiner give us our equation of our graph like that, the examiner is telling us two things. Firstly, it's telling us the shape of our graph, because that will be determined by the sign of A over there. And secondly, the examiner is telling us the coordinates of our turning point. The coordinates of our turning point, that's basically 1 and 9. These two are the corresponding x and y coordinates of our turning point. Okay. First question, they want us to write down the coordinates of B. We already did that. That's 1 and 9. For which values of x are both graphs decreasing? The graphs will be... let me check. For which values of x are both graph decreasing? Okay. Just scan your graphs, guys. Just moving from left to right. For your parabola, moving from left to right, is your graph going down or up? If your graph is going down, that means your graph is decreasing, right? But if your graph is going up, moving from left to right, that simply means your graph is increasing. So I know that both of this graph will simultaneously decrease whenever x is just less than 1. Alright, together, when x is less than 1, both of my graphs are decreasing. Now I'm supposed to determine the coordinates of the x-intercepts of F. For me to find the x-intercepts, guys, I don't care what kind of a graph I have. All I have to do is to make sure that y is 0 and then solve x. I'll simply have f of x being equal to x minus 1 squared minus 9. This will be 0 is equal to x minus 1 squared minus 9. I know that, guys, you can remove the brackets, factorize, but you can simply rewrite this thing as 9 is equal to x minus 1 all squared. Whenever you take the square root on both sides, we'll have x minus 1 is equal to plus or minus 3. Are you together? But you can simply rewrite this thing as x minus 1 is equal to 3, or x minus 1 is equal to minus 3. Therefore, x is equal to 4, or x is equal to negative 2. So the coordinates of C, I have 4 and 0. Coordinates of the x-intercept over there, I don't know its point, but I know that the coordinates of that x-intercept, it will be just negative 2 and 0. Okay, that's negative 2 and 0, and then that's 4 and 0. Show that A is equal to 9. How can I do so? G of x is equal to negative a to the power x. Okay. All I have to do, guys, is to make sure that all I have to do is to just substitute the point I have there. Any point I have on the graph, I know that y is equal to 9 if and only if x is equal to 1. Are you together? If and only if x is equal to 1. So this simply means that negative a is equal to 9. Remember that, guys, a cannot be negative. Are you together? It simply means that there are two terms over there. Basically, the the basic, what's this? The standard function for an exponential graph simply says b ax plus q, ne? Whereby b can be positive or negative. When b is positive, this thing simply tells you that your graph should be above your asymptote. When b is negative, this thing just tells us that our graph should be below our asymptote. Are you together? And then q is just our asymptote. And then a is going to tell us whether our graph is increasing or decreasing. So this negative over there does not stand for, rather it is not necessarily the coefficient of a. That a is a representation of b. Are you together? So I can conclude that yes, I have negative a is equal to 9, but I can conclude that a is equal to 9. I can conclude that a is equal to 9. Okay, now I'm supposed to determine the inverse of g. For me to find the inverse, guys, I must always reflect my graph on the line y is equal to x. G of x is equal to negative 9 to the power x, like that, ne? And then for me to find my inverse, I must always reflect on that line over there. And then I'll simply have x is equal to negative 9 to the power y. And then I can divide both sides by negative. That will simply give me negative x is equal to 9 to the power y. Whenever I take the logs on both sides, I'll end up having y is equal to the log of negative x base 9. So the inverse is just the log of negative x base 9. Okay, now I'm supposed to sketch the graph of g, of the inverse of g, right? It should have been like this. It will simply be like this, guys, ne? Let me just draw it over here because now it's clumsy. Our graph will simply be like this, and then it will intersect at negative 1, and then we do have an extra point over there. Let's say when x is equal to negative 9, the corresponding y value will be 1. You must indicate an extra point, guys, if ever your graph does not intersect both the x and y axes, ne? Y axis 0 and x axis. And then now you are supposed to, for which values of g, for which values of x is our inverse greater than 2? For which values of x is our inverse greater than 2? I can solve this using algebra, guys, ne? I simply have the log of negative x base 9, right? That's greater than 2. Remember that, guys, whenever you are dealing with logarithms, you must always have restrictions. How can you write your restriction? Your index should always be greater than 0. That means your index, you can divide both sides by negative x. That means x can always be less than 0. Right, together. But it's true, if you check your graph is on the left hand side of your y-axis, which simply means x is always negative. Okay, now let's solve this inequality over there. I simply have negative x being greater than 9 to the power 2. That means x must be less than what? Negative 81. X must be less than negative 81, right? Okay, I think that's how you should have tackled this thing. x should always be less than or negative 81. Yeah, because this negative 81 is well within our restriction. So this thing is greater than 2 if and only if x is less than 81, because 81 will be somewhere over there, guys. X will be 81 and then y will be 2 over there. Are you together? So x must be between negative 81 and 0. You can write it like that. X must be between negative 81 and 0. But nah, man, let me not complicate things.